book more calls. That's the advice. And that's also how you burn out in 6 months. I was giving my highest value hour to people who had never even paid me a dime, let alone were even sometimes remotely interested in what I had to offer. Didn't even know who I was truly, right? And the know, like, and trust factor, as we all know, is so important in this industry, especially in the coaching space. If you're actually looking to get people to spend high dollar amounts on you, it's one thing for someone buying something lower ticket, if you will, for $5, $10 or something, but you're trying to get someone to pay you $1,000, $5,000, $15,000, and you're just spending time with people who are complete tire kickers without even knowing it, right? I'm telling you right now, when I flipped this on its head and I really started adding a complete blocker, right? I stopped taking these free calls. I ended up doubling my close rate. So what if the fastest path to really growing your business was taking a similar approach for yourself and actually was booking fewer calls, not more, calls with the right people? All right, that's what I want to really tap into today. What's going on? My name is Severin. I'm making these videos here every Wednesday for you, dropping them live for coaches, creators, experts, consultants, high-ticket service providers, really to help you grow a profitable personal brand for your coaching business and beyond here, okay? So today's no different. I want to really shed some light on the fact that people are doing what I believe to be very low leverage activities, and it's something that the industry has been planting the seed on for far too long. And I just want to go ahead and just smash that on its head for you so you can go ahead and build a business that you actually enjoy, allows you to not burn out. Because here's the thing, I'll give it to you right now. Maybe you've been taking calls for a long time already, and now you're feeling burnt out. Maybe you're at the stage where you haven't started taking calls yet, but you can see that and you know what, you haven't started taking calls yet and you're optimistic about that path and you're totally fine with doubling down. If that's the case, you probably are so optimistic that you don't see the future coming where you're going to get burnt out. It's the reason why for so long people were positioning it as, hey, get a closers, get setters, all these things, because they know you don't want to be doing these things forever. And it's very tough to actually stay creative as a marketer if you're getting your energy is getting sucked out from all these sales calls you're having to take. And now your client results are taking a hit because you're not able to actually show up and be there for them. So this video here is, like I said, to make sure that you do not get sucked into that trap. And I would love it if I can get you to even avoid that trap completely. All right. But maybe if you're here watching this right now, you're realizing, hey, I'm in that world. I need to get the heck out of it. Let's give you the exact game plan and blueprint to make that happen. The reality is, for a lot of folks, you need free calls to survive. At least that's how you've set up your business. So you're going to always in this survival mode, chasing your calendar instead of really just building a business, right? Building a business has a lot more leverage to it, as I'm trying to get to here. One slow week of bookings, and really for you, panic sets in, especially too, it is when you're at that, because reality is, you feel like you want to have your week booked out in advance as much as possible. But now let's just say you show up and you see an empty calendar. To me, that sounds blissful, but you see an empty calendar. And so now you're thinking, all right, that means no clients are going to be coming in. And that can be a very scary thought. And so the problem is not even just the fact that, like, hey, you have one slow week of bookings. Now you're like, shoot, this week is slow, which means I feel like next week will probably be slow. And it just causes this kind of a delayed domino effect that just ends up having a negative impact in your business. And I just don't believe that that's a system that you want to have. That's dependency, right? So free calls, they're attracting those really who just are not pre-qualified. If we're being completely honest there's no skin in the game, right? There's no urgency. There's no follow through, and which ends up actually turning into no close for you as far as the business owner goes there, right? So you're spending your highest value time convincing these strangers that, really, you're worth paying, right? And the problem with it just so often is that they haven't taken the time to I don't even want to say get to know you, but they haven't taken the time to even just go through some resources. A lot, right? It's kind of like, who cares about me? It's more so about, when I say me, it's like you being the person who's trying to get on this call and close them. It's who cares about me? It's more so about, what have I done for others? What's my track record? Like I'm speaking for myself, but like in general, maybe for you, you have a lot of testimonials. You've got results for yourself, a lot of transformations that have been or that have happened, transpired around you, but they don't know about any of it, right? So you're spending your highest value time trying to close these people who really, just like I said, don't know you enough, instead of closing people who already decided who you are, right? And already have understand, took the time there. Like, point blank period here. If your calendar is your lead gen strategy, you don't have a system here, right? You don't have a business. You have a job with all these extra steps in it. And we need to really clean that up. So the first step you want to do is you need to make a low ticket offer that's your gatekeeper, not the free call. The free call has been the gatekeeper for far too long in this industry, and I think that that can still work for people at super high volumes. And when I say super high volumes, that is not you watching this, I can almost guarantee. Super high volume is folks who are literally, they are cranking out, you know, $5,000 to $20,000 high ticket offers in massive volume. They can go book call funnels all day. They've got setters, they've got closers, they got customer success managers. You don't have that watching this right now. If you have that, you're probably not watching this video. So with that being said here, you need someone who says, hey, let me spend $7. Let me spend $57. Let me spend $97, $27, whatever it may be, as a product from this person first, right? That purchase becomes the qualifier. This is how I teach inside of my brand to clients here, because we want to have it where you have something that is being the qualifier without you being around. I'm really big on, of course, as well too, if you can have this going down passively, this makes it a lot better. And if you now are booking calls with this person, they've already paid you for something. They've already invested in you, right? They already trust the process to a certain degree, or at least they're beginning to build more trust. And they've proven that, right? That single shift changes who someone is and who they show up as and how they show up into the conversations. Like for myself there, like I said, I was solely, when I was doing things organically completely, I was solely doing free calls. And it wasn't until really I started to embrace this low ticket trajectory and direction with my business and my strategy there. But I did see glimpses of even hope with it in the organic side. I used to run workshops there where they were paid, even though I was doing pure organic traffic. I'd run a workshop and I'd have it where I would make, and even let's just say some workshops I had 10 people in them, you know, but the conversion rate on those 10 was always that much higher, as if I took 10 calls with people who never really knew about me. And then now shift that over to actually, like, you know, paid ad side. This is what I do for myself and for my clients here. We now take calls with these people, if anything, and it's not even all of those folks, right? But a percentage of the people who buy from us are the only people we're focusing our time on taking calls with. And so now we go from having this kind of free calls, pat counter that way, having way more no-shows, all these things, to now people who are getting on calls who have literally already paid us money. I've talked about this a lot in the past. I'd rather go ahead and talk to somebody who's at least paid me $1 versus somebody who has not paid me a dime. That is a huge gap. The gap from $0 to $1 compared towards the gap of someone who spent $1 to $50, right? Like that, even though it's a $50 difference or $49 difference compared to a $1 difference in one, it makes all of the difference here, right? And this is when, and I realized it because the closing rate started to shift. Everything, my energy showing up started to change because I knew that I wasn't talking to somebody who was just, who knows where their mindset's at, right? Who knows where the trust is at here too. I realized that the old model was basically just broken, and it wasn't even my closing skills. That's the thing too. A lot of times people come into this space and they think I'm good at sales. I've done all these things, but the problem is you don't have the right system set up to get people who even have a chance of closing, right? There are some people with these free calls, there's no hope. there's no hope, and there's no hope to them even showing up, if we're being completely real there as well too. So that is where having the low ticket really became a gatekeeper and a filter for myself in the business, and sort of really transform my sales call process, because I became to the point where sales calls became more of like, let's pre-qualify for the high ticket because you already know and believe in me as far as that side goes there. So that was a major shift as far as my strategy went as well too. And that's where if you start doing the same thing, it can make just a drastic impact as far as that goes. And when it comes to really like gatekeeping your time and energy. So with that being said, what started to shift as because that's like initial days, you know, even getting that up and running. Then what starts to happen is I wanted to stop building so much of this like one-to-one engine. I realized that everything with one-to-one engine, when I say this, is like taking one-on-one calls, you're doing one-on-one conversations, one-on-one Zoom calls, one-on-one as to everything. Honestly, even on the delivery side too, but beyond that, especially we're talking here on the marketing aspects, and switching to build a more one-to-many. The peace of mind it's given me making this transition, and I will say this, it's tough because you do have to draw a line in the sand. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Talking to people one-to-one, it is easier to close people that way. People love personal attention, obviously. There's a reason why big companies out there, big coaching programs, all this, like I said, high volume, they've got all the team members. There's a reason why they do it, because they know it's effective. But the problem is if you're doing that, you are going to burn out, and you're going to have it where your profit margin is becoming thinner and thinner. So you're having to close all these clients you don't even want to work with, and it just becomes a nightmare. So calls, though, when you start to switch towards going from one to one to many, calls become the cherry on top all of a sudden. And it's not the engine of one to one that runs the whole business. I had a client there who's got, literally had under 2,000 followers when he got his first $200,000 cash collected inside of a business working with me. And, he's getting consistent 5-figure months at this point, closing $4,000, $5,000 deals. What happened is he really had it where the offer and the funnel started to do the heavy lifting for him. And it's not even just the idea of having this low ticket offer doing the heavy lifting. For me, if you're familiar, I'm really big on having a one-page funnel, the client magnet funnel as I teach it. And for this year, we want to have the flow being, it's like, all right, let's make this up as passive as possible so you can have no team members, right? You can have it where you have your low ticket funnel as the gatekeeper, right? You start running ads to that, it gets the flow moving. Then from there, you get buyers from that. Now from there, you have it where the funnel, the offer, I guess what you could argue, the low ticket side, and the funnel being the actual funnel, which could be the actual page or the system, right? The system now gets your high ticket offer in front of these buyers, automated passively, right? Having that funnel now get in front of, which has your high ticket offer on it too, and let the system push people towards that. So now let's just say even before someone gets on the call with you, they know your high ticket offer. They understand, like for me, when it comes down to it, if I'm getting on a call with somebody, I don't just want them to have bought something these days. Like, I want you to have bought something. I want you to have seen my offer. I want you to have seen a video about how my offer works. I want you to see my testimonials, my students. I want to have, and it's a want and a need. Like, I need to have these things because I'm not willing to sit on a call with you and just, elaborate on why I think I'm the best and all these things. And sometimes, and once again, this is where I don't even believe that you need to start off this way. It just shows how you can start to really move the line further and further back. If you picture free calls are over here, you're taking free calls, you're doing your thing, and then behind the free call, now it's like, okay, let me add it where they have to buy something. Okay, now let me add it where they have to watch something. Okay, let me add it where they have to fill out a form. Okay, let me add it where they have to see these testimonials. Okay, let me add it, and you just can continue to add more of a security measure, if you will, to guardrail and protect your time. This is where, and this is how now, imagine when you are taking these calls, and even if you have a stacked calendar at that point, imagine how much different that is. Imagine, this is why my close rate doubles overnight when I took this approach as opposed to just taking free calls. And the amount of energy that gets burnt on these free calls because you're just having to talk to people who, for one, potentially aren't even interested, and you have to explain so much. It is just such a game changer there. Instead, I'd rather see where you have one page, one offer, one system working while you're not even on the call, doing the heavy lifting for you. That is what a game changer really looks like for you inside the business. Now, from a traffic perspective, we really want to let your low ticket buyers fund your ad spend. This is the self-funding piece, right? If you're familiar with my process within the Brand and Clients Operating System, I talk a lot about the self-funding client engine. And let's just say hypothetically, every $50 buyer that comes in is covering your visibility before a single high ticket client ever closes there, right? And you're running ads to break even, right? Break even or better. Because obviously my real goal is to be extremely profitable even before I get a high ticket client to convert. That's what we're striving for here, to really make sure that we are able, because here's the thing, when it comes to traffic, a lot of people are not able to stay consistent with organic traffic because it'll burn you out that way too, in the same way that free calls will. And with paid ads, they are not able to be consistent over the long run because they're burning their ad budget without making money. They're just trying to run ads, spend money on it until they get a client. And now it can be very discouraging if you spend all this time and money and you're not getting any clients yet. It's like, well, you're getting visibility, you're getting leads, but that's not paying the bills. So with that being said here, we really want to flip this stuff to where the front end is profitable before. And that's why having this gatekeeper offer is so powerful, this gatekeeper, this low ticket barrier before, because for one, it's protecting your time on calls, but two, it's also funding your ad spend. And we talk about how you can have all these upsells and pieces as well too. You don't even have to, but have that to now act as an additional buffer so you can squeeze up more in your average order value, if you're familiar with that. And it's a terminology that people in the e-com world heavily play, but in the coaching space, it can really shift things if you take this approach as well too. So that's how we want to really kind of see these pieces here. And so now if you have this in the front end, imagine now your back end starts to really print money, and it is printing it in pure profit. That's where now these calls that you're taking, you're not having to even, you spent money hypothetically on the ads here, but you've already broken even because of the sales you made on the front end that are doing, as you can tell, it's a multifaceted benefit here. You're getting the benefit of, it's serving as a gatekeeper. You're getting the benefit of it's funding your ad spend. You're getting the benefit of it just growing your audience with warm leads and buyers instead of just having people who are just opting into a free thing constantly. It really shifts the game when you see it this way as well too. So this is how we want to really have it. Like I had another client there, Cassie. She went from being negative $8,000 in the bank to her first $45,000 a month, and she was doing this as a stay-at-home mama too, right? She didn't get there just from chasing these free calls. She got there by having the front of the funnel dialed in first. That's what really starts to shift things when you take this angle from it. And to really kind of make it so that now we understand, all right, we have it where there's this gatekeeping. We have it where we have traffic coming through. We have it where now potentially I'm trying to figure out, who do I want to get my offer in front of, right? Who do I want to get a call with, if you will, or two, right? This is where, like I mentioned here, you want to build that 24/7 high ticket exposure that does not rely on your calendar. It's for all the reasons I've talked about already here, right? It's this one page funnel, as I mentioned earlier. One page funnel, selling around the clock, means high ticket exposure for your opportunity, for your offer, more opportunities to show up whether you book or not, whether you're booking calls or not here. And this is the beautiful part with that, is that you will start to have it where you're able to close clients without even having a sales call. This stuff completely changes the game when you take this approach here. You stop relying on booking calls to create the opportunity. Book calls now have become, in its truest form, an enrollment process. It's like, all right, if you're booking a call with me, you understand, you've admitted that you want to invest, you know you have a problem. We just need to, you maybe just have a few questions around, hey, is this really the right fit for me? Like, because once again, I don't even mean this to be disrespectful, because I can relate. We all think we're that special snowflake, right? But and this is where your offer needs to speak to the right person on the front end, whether it's the low ticket side to protect your time for these calls, and on the back end so that your high ticket offer actually makes sense. Because that way the call just closes folks who are already warm, and the offer makes sense to them, and it becomes even easier, right? So once again, the funnel creates these situations for us, and the exposure here allows us to really capitalize and make these calls as seamless as possible. As you can see, my goal here isn't just to have where you're removing free calls. I want to have it where if you are jumping on calls, it makes it more seamless to have that prospect turn into a client for your business. I've seen it time and time again. I got another client, Brianna. She hit her first 50K, and even like her first 30 days with us. Well, she had her first 10K month, and I think even after like her first like $4,000 client came like within days of her second call, right? And really, that's just because it's with a buyer who was already sold before the call even happened. This completely changes things when you take this approach here. Now, the last thing I want to really kind of give you here it's like, all right, now how can I know, right? How do I know when calls do make sense versus when they don't? Early on, when your volume is low and you need every rep you can get, I would recommend, hey, like get on those calls. I mentioned kind of like having your line, you can kind of push back the line, if you will, there too. Start right at the beginning with the line smack dab against it. Put your toes on the line, right? And right now you're kind of over here on the fence doing free calls. Let's eliminate that completely is what I want you to understand here. And now just start your toe at the line. Try to get calls with as many of them as possible. Calls are how you learn to sell your offer. They're a great way of understanding market research, understanding who's buying your stuff, why they're buying your stuff, what problems they have, what goals they have, aspirations. This now starts to impact the content you make, the ads you make, and you're able to speak to your ideal client profile that much stronger, right? But now, once someone has already bought something, the call isn't a pitch anymore. It's a natural next step. A free call, you're having to do all this rapport building, all this extra stuff, just to get to the point to find out if they're even remotely interested in who you are. And it's like you're kind of trying to sell them on your personality more, when that's not what you want to be. That's not the game you want to be playing. Like, allow them to be sold on your personality or your style before the call ever happens. I think a lot of people are just relying on their organic content to do that, when the reality is it's just not, it doesn't have the same strength to it as what a dialed-in system and funnel truly can do for you inside of the business there. So once someone has bought something, we need to take this approach. And then outside of those two windows, the free call, I'm telling you, like going to this side of the line, It's a trap dressed up as generosity. And you do not want to get sucked into that game there. It will lose you so much time. And I always say this, I want to prioritize my energy over time. And when I say that, I want to spend my energy making assets that I can leverage for months and years to come. The time you spend on a 60-minute sales call with someone for free, you cannot get that time back. Even a sales call in general. So this is why if we are going to do this, we have to make sure we're protecting, gatekeeping our time as much as possible. And we don't have to gatekeep knowledge and information. We can give that to people for a very affordable price, right? Let them get a taste, and then we proceed down the line from there. All right. Hope that made a ton of sense for you right now. If you're sitting there thinking, but Justice, hey, what if, you haven't even built your high ticket offer yet, right? You're like, all right, what does it even look like to turn buyers into high ticket clients here? Check out this video, I'll link it above, where I really walk through the full process. It's actually a live case study, something that I've done that's worked extremely successful for me. And honestly, it's like, a glimpse into how I even teach my clients there. I took a $9 mini course, turned it into 2K plus coaching clients on repeat. All right. So go ahead and check that out. I'll link up above for you. Hope this made some sense for you here. And if so, obviously hit the like button, subscribe. I'm dropping these videos every single week. And until then, I'll catch you later. Be good.